Ian,
Aha.
what happened? Oh my gosh.
I have one word, 2 syllables. You take the first guess.
I have no idea.
Might be 3 syllables. Disassemble.
Disassemble. It's actually
Disassemble.
4, but English is weird.
Bull.
Oh my
Disassemble.
goodness. What happened? I left for one day to go to my mom's to take care of some business.
Your
and
mom,
I come home.
Your mom was over here with me disassembling it yesterday. That's why you didn't see her at home.
We must have crossed paths on the road.
Granny gets down with an impact wrench. I couldn't believe it. She was going at this thing like an octopus, 8 legs in motion.
Well, she does love you.
It's like she took the cab and hurled it right off, and there we were.
Aww.
I was shocked. I mean, there is dedication, but that is the new level. I've never seen somebody throw down like that.
Wow. Anyway, what happened for real?
In truth, an angel visited us. Literally, his name is Angel. Angel
Aww.
Gomez. And he's like, yeah, dude, I know how to take that stuff apart. He came in and did all the technical wrenching and disassembling under the dashboard. He took all the things apart that matter that we're going to reuse. The entire Hydro Boost brake system is still intact, simply dropped from the firewall. So your brake pedal pushes on there. You remember Persephone's master cylinder, right?
Wow.
That's big trucking master cylinder. Fortunately, he found out that this truck doesn't have a computer. It's basically analog, which is awesome. This is the entire harness, dropped down from the firewall.
Oh my God.
It looks like spaghetti right now, but
it really does.
We know the way through it. We dropped the shifter linkage, the steering column is out. So everything that was between the cab and the chassis was disassembled properly. And then we lifted off all the heavier body parts. Doors are off, fenders are off, bumpers off.
I mean, obviously. I thought
everything's off.
You said we were going to work on Little Jewel today, or yeah, Little Jewel, the Flaming Jewel. And I thought we were going to be outside, and I had my hat and my sunglasses. And then I came out here.
How'd that work out for you?
I don't need my hat or my sunglasses. Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to use the cab over body on this, so we're going to have to move the entire engine and transmission. That is big business for sure. Radiator is going to get repositioned as well. You want the floor of that Little Jewel truck to be on the chassis. So we're going to move the engine rearward, similar to the other design we were working with. You see we got plenty of room to work with. I'm estimating the engine to be somewhere in the middle of the fuel tank now, where the crankshaft pulley will be. So that still puts us at about 3, 6, 9, 12 feet to the end of the chassis. So another 3 foot off of the back, possibly for the bed. We're going to figure that out as we work forward with it. Coming up with a couple different ideas about the bed. Obviously a nice, I think it's called like a beaver tail, where it's curved down in the back. I've done that before. A rollback truck is a cool option too. It's a lot of hydraulic. It's a sliding mechanism. It's this big tray that slides back, tilts, and goes down to the ground. So I'm kind of debating what the options are. For now, I'm thinking about just a simple tilt deck. In other words, there'll be a large pivot here with a simple hydraulic ram. So we will have to use ramps to put the vehicle on here, but it's going to be like a super basic design, like really, really straightforward. This is just talk at this time. Still thinking about it. My friend Tom gave me a bunch of material, enough to build a bed. But once we took the other bed off, I realized that this crossmember, if you look at the earlier video, this crossmember was pretty bent up, and it was actually twisting the frame from the pressure. So I went ahead and cut that off, and the frame just went ding right back into shape, which is cool. It was actually pinched tighter, because see how bent this one is? You can see it's cracked through here.
Yeah.
So this thing was pushed back, twisted, and putting a lot of stress in the frame. So by cutting it off, I'm looking at the straight edge here, and the chassis rails they're parallel. Does They're not, you know, you would think it might be like twisted or something, but it's right back into shape, which is what we need. These rear mounts for the leaf springs, you know, it's a lot of pressure put in there. So it's important that this cross member is here and very strong. That's why I got this big heavy material. Looks like it's about 4x3 angle, 3/16 wall. You'll see this had double cross members here, but they were about 1/8 wall. So this was incredibly strong. But since they're damaged and this was in the scrap pile at the steel supply, that's what I'm working with. Now, want to hear my day's frustration, or are we going to skip that?
I think we should skip.
Okay. So I think I'm just going to start by torching out all these rivets and getting rid of this cross member, because I think I'm going to bolt in through these rivet holes. I'll just put in grade 8 hardware instead of a rivet, and that way there'll be no welding to the truck chassis. It'll be held as it should be from the factory, but I will weld on the new cross member I'm making. I'll fire this torch up, do some rivet removing.
Why are you sitting there?
Well, I started cutting this thing, and this torch is giving me nothing but trouble. I'm just going to get in there and hog this out to get all of the old cross member out of there. Alright, so you can see why I use the cutting disc so much, because it's quite clean. Whereas the torch is it's messy, it's hot. When you have a tool that you're either not used to working with, what we're going to talk about is this flaming hot chassis.
I can feel the heat coming off of it right over here.
Yeah, so I'm not going to burn any more rivets away because I cannot afford to lose the actual chassis, and I don't want to heat it. I don't know if this is one of those chassis that you're not meant to weld on. I see rivets through the entirety of it. So yeah, I guess I'm going to do it the hard way and grind off all these rivet heads. So I'll see you in a week and a half when those are ground off.
Oh no.
Whew, that took so long. I think I gotta get a fresh shave to continue, make it look timely. So you can see all that's cleaned up. The other cross members were 1/8 inch thick. This is super thick. So what I'm thinking, these rivets here are only going to allow the new cross member to come and butt up to them. So I'm going to double it. I'm going to do one angle here on the bottom coming up and one angle here on the top coming down and welding them where they lap over each other. So that'll be like 20 times as strong as what was there. The only downside of it being that the upper portion will have a shallower grab on where the bolts will come through. But being that that is so substantial, and this is 3 pieces of steel thick at this point, I think it's going to be a heck of a force to make that come apart. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
It'll be a heck of a force to make that come apart. So I'm going to take this thing. I even forget the name of it sometimes. I use it so infrequently, but it has numbers on it. And those numbers in this circumstance add up to 32 and a half. Let's cut a piece of that at 32 and a half. Always me, always my stress. I don't have enough material.
You don't?
I sure don't. Good times. I might. Let me check this one. That'd be pretty interesting if I did. Just have enough. Change of plans. I'm going to split this thing directly in half so we have enough material.
Oh no.
Welcome to my world.
Some days go good.
But you know what? You know what your problem is? You know
What?
what your problem is? You think this is easy, don't you?
I know you're not talking to me.
I'm talking to every last one. You think this job is easy. That's your problem. 63. Half of 63 is 31 and a half. So, okay, so I'm only 1 inch off from my original guesstimation.
Can't you just like use the bead trick? I'm kidding.
What's that?
I'm kidding. The bead trick to like fill in the gaps or
Well,
whatever.
that's the thing. So there's no welding on this chassis.
Oh.
Yeah, so the engine mounts, everything. Look, there's rivets and bolts everywhere.
Ooh.
Because some of these frames, you'll see a sticker that says no weld. Like, don't weld. It's treated. It's tempered. It's something. Very strong. Okay, so check this out. We might get away with it. From the inside of the rivet, for the upper one, which will be smaller, it's only 30. So, I mean, by the skin of our teeth, we're going to make it. We have just enough. Back to our 32 and a half inch measurement. Always a ride. You know, I toss my hat in the ring of the engineering greats.
Right.
Because a lot of times, this is what it's about.
Well, there's a lot of engineers that comment, thank you, engineers, that they're like, man, I have to think and then rethink.
Well, think about also when there are limited resources. You're out there back in the day, you're in Paris, France, you're trying to build a Statue of Liberty. You got a lot of works going on, and dude comes up to you, he's like, yeah, so we're just about out of copper. You still are missing a toe on the Statue of Liberty. I mean, what are you going to do? We're in the same predicament here. It's all I'm saying. Was that actual facts in history? Probably not, but it could have happened. Stay with me here. Quite a hunk of steel. $32 and a half coming up. So it's really interesting. Every vehicle has a story, right? So look, 4 rivets on this side, 3 bolts on this side. these are all riveted. Look through there.
The plot thickens.
There ain't nothing pure in this world, so sometimes you just got to make it work. Either way, you can see how this got a really good grab. All right. So plenty of room for some connectors. Drill fresh holes through there. Heck yes. And now we know 30 is our limit on the top side. So let's cut one at 30. This was, again, luck. Luck at the steel supply. Look at this. The piece allows us 30.5 inches. We're going to cut a ½ inch off.
It's all blurry. The camera won't even register that small print. Trust us.
No. That's like me without my reading glasses.
It's pretty much how it looks.
Just being authentic. It's the actual Ian's eye view. Everything's blurry. All right, we got that at 30. Look at that. Talk about lucking out at the steel yard.
I like how it breathes at the end. It's like, I'm following you.
You gotta wait for the ring. So there's a piece of the old Crossmember still under here. And I know that those are even because the factory don't make mistakes. So I'm gonna be able to slide this in between the rivets, right? And watch, it's gonna go boom. I said it's gonna go right there. And I kind of pre-fit these. That's what I was doing while all that noise was going on over at the saw.
Oh, so you just made a beam.
I did.
Wow. I didn't know what you were doing. I told you to surprise me today, and there it was.
Man, you know I would not let you down with a surprise. So then this one, see how they're doubled up here? See the lower and the upper. So yes, it's making a large, like super double thick walled C channel. This will be welded, boom, 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 probably 4 long beads. Bolts top and bottom. You got a new rear cross member, eh?
Ta-da.
So, yeah, I'm just going to go out on some welding, and then there's no excitement in drilling holes through this thick steel. So when we return, I'll have grade 8 hardware. Bada bing, bada boom, top and bottom. It's a cross member. All right, well, that was some effort. Got all these holes drilled, a dozen, in fact. 3 per end, top and bottom, and grade 8 hardware installed. So instead of having the steel rivets, you got this heavy-duty steel bolt. The idea being, again, not welding to the chassis. I'm going to tighten all these up and talk a little bit about what comes next. That there is a solid cross member. Check it out.
Ooh.
I know it's exciting.
Ah.
You know what's even more exciting?
What's more exciting?
these two hunks of rubber I acquired. How's that for a tire?
That's a pretty big slick. That's not a slick though, right?
Nope,
That's
this is
just...
called a super single. It's a 445 50 22.5.
Wow.
So it's 22.5 rim, like the dualies, but it's extra wide.
Those are pretty rims.
Yeah, look at the front rims too. I got a deal. The rear rims were $70 each, and the front rims were $100 each. So
Wow.
that's a pretty significant deal. The tires were expensive. We're not going to talk about that, but got new front tires. Might as well get new back tires. That's all in a coming episode because I had to order the proper lug wrench attachment for the socket. So it's called a bud style rim, and they have a square end. So come on back now. That thing's on its way. We're going to get to lowering this truck next.